Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Do you want to become insanely successful? Do you want to be the go-to guru in your industry? Do you want to be talked about for all the right reasons? For over 40 years, Kevin Harrington has helped people just like you become significant influencers. Now he's broken the process down in the Key Person of Influence roadmap, and it's yours for free. Just text KPI to him at 727-888-2100. Text KPI to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free step-by-step guide. Text KPI to 727-888-2100 to get the recognition you deserve and experience the success as the go-to voice everyone listens to in your industry today. Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today I have the good fortune to be joined by Amanda Dobson. Amanda, in case you don't know, is busy taking the world of online marketing by storm. We'll talk about her previous life at Digital Marketer and her current life as a publisher at Agora Financial and the founder of 7-Level Profits. She is somebody that if you aren't following now, you absolutely should be. Amanda, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me back, Seth. I really appreciate it. I love talking to you.
Thank you. That is right. Excellent memory. So Amanda joins the rare air of like the less than 5 people who have ever been on our show twice.
Woohoo. I take that as a compliment.
It could be. Russell Brunson's in that list. John Lee Dumas is in that list. There aren't too many people. It's a very rare list. So we're thrilled to have you back. Let's go back in time a little bit to establish what you were doing before what you are doing. So tell us a little bit about your career at Digital Marketer and Survival Life and Native Commerce before we get into what you're doing now.
Sure. So what I'm doing now actually was a byproduct of what I was doing over there. So I actually worked in the physical products division of Digital Marketer. So that's run by Perry Belcher at the moment. And I did all of their funnel builds, their copywriting. I was their marketing director for just shy of 3 years. So I had a lot of experience and a lot of exposure to some of the best marketers in the world, and also the toughest critics in the world. If you've ever worked for Perry before, he's a brilliant man. And I got a 6-figure education working for him. I didn't know anything about marketing really. I came to him as a director of marketing, and I thought I was a genius at the time. And I worked for him for a couple of years, and I was like, man, if I knew then what I knew now, what I could have done with that business. Oh my God.
Right. You thought you were a genius, and then you found out you were an idiot after you worked there. And then
yeah. And then I became a real genius because I was enlightened to the fact that I knew absolutely nothing. You know, the smartest people know that they know nothing. And that's exactly what the case was. And I continue to learn where I am now. Perry introduced me to some of his friends over at Agora Financial. And much to his dismay, I was poached from Perry to go and work for them. And, he's a really gracious, and he knew that was going to happen one day. And he knew that Agora Financial is a $2 billion a year business. My division is about a $300 million a year division over at Agora. So it's a big playground. So it was a really big step up for me to be able to go over and run a division over there. And it's been really a learning curve, to say the least. Moving from the financial, working with Perry, I was doing survival, then I was doing DIY, then I was working on makeup tutorials. So literally like every category you could possibly imagine was under my radar. I think there was like 12 brands total in every niche possible. And financial wasn't one of them. So of course I picked a business that was in the one vertical I had no experience in. So, for me, the learning continued. And out of that came the agency that I run now, which is called 7-Level Profits. So Perry and I are actually in a war room mastermind together. He's one of the principals. He owns that along with Richard Lindner, Ryan Dice, and Roland Frazier. And I've been lucky enough to be able to go to those meetings for the last couple of years. And that's where I met Perry initially. And they asked me last year to help them put together a intensive for their members. And what we called that the octopus method. And what we did is we took together 8 different types of communication. We took email lists, SMS, push notifications, messenger bots, direct mail, 8 in total. And we taught people how to package those all together into one totally integrated campaign. So now on the agency side with 7-Level Profits, what I do is I take something like an email list and I learn how to leverage, I teach businesses how to build an SMS list off of their email list, then build a push notification list, then a messenger bot list, then a direct mail list, all coming from this one initial asset. The funny story behind that was we actually, we built that as a process because Perry went on vacation one day and, he's got millions of people on his email list when we're responsible for, hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue a day coming from those email lists. So while he was on vacation, he managed to get all of our domains blacklisted. So I couldn't send an email. He just gets frustrated and he likes to be in it. He's very much one of those business owners. He's a tinkerer just like me. So we got our domains blacklisted and I'm sitting there going, what the heck do I do now? Like I can't send emails. How am I supposed to make revenue? And the octopus method that we did through the Worm Intensive was born out of that because I had no choice but to start building SMS lists and all of these other things to bring in revenue because my email list failed. I think that's a really important lesson for business owners to learn is to have those insurance policies on your business. Because how often are we told that the money is in the list? And the money is absolutely in the list, but what do you do if you lose that asset? What do you do if Google changes their policies and you can't send your promotions anymore? What do you do if your deliverability score is low or your IP gets spammed or whatever could happen? But if you put all your eggs in one basket and you're not building out all of these other channels, you are doomed to fail. It's going to happen. I've seen it happen in multi-billion-dollar businesses. I've seen it in my clients' businesses where, one little change in a Google policy or Hotmail decides that they're going to stop inboxing them, whatever. Those things happen and they're real business problems. So for me, really specializing into text message marketing has been my solution. Because it's pretty much fail safe. It's really hard to screw it up. You can definitely get yourself blacklisted and kicked off platforms, but it's pretty hard to do.
All right. So I've got multiple notes already. So you've already given us quite a few writer-downers. So let me ask you a question. Is 7-Level Profits separate from your $300 million division at Agora?
Yeah, it's very separate. Agora's my main.
$300 million Agora division wasn't enough for you. You started an agency on the side to do even more work.
Yeah, it's my evening and weekend thing. And anyone who knows me, you probably discovered this by now, I'm very much a tinkerer. I like to play around with things. And that's the value that I give to my clients is, Agora very much benefits from me playing around with all these things because, we implemented SMS marketing in, I want to say November. And come January, February, when we're looking at the numbers, and we had very rudimentary played with this. We had already passed $2 million in revenue from just SMS, just from playing with it for a month or two. So
that's a nice sandbox.
Yeah. So it's, it's a nice sandbox, but they get all of that stuff back to them. Perry and I have been talking for days about all these new conversational style funnels like Drift and these campaigns that are automated bots that are outperforming form fields for webinar registrations and all that stuff. So I take that back to Agora and I'm like, hey guys, let's try this amazing thing. So for me, the reward for me is very much the knowledge, and I like to be the best at things. That's just, I know I am like that as a person. So I like to diversify and learn all of these new skills so that I have them to offer. So for me, it's not about money. It's not about, time, all that kind of stuff. For me, it's just, I want the knowledge. I want to learn.
Awesome. Okay. So who is an ideal, what does 7-Level Profits do? Who is an ideal client for that? Where do our listeners go to learn more about that?
Okay. So 7-Level Profits is the agency that builds those multiple campaigns. So my goal at the end of the day with 7-Level Profits is to create fully integrated campaigns for you. And what I want you to be able to say, like my end game is to get your email subscribers also on your SMS list so you can text message them. I also want them in your messenger bots so that you can follow up with them via messenger bots. And I want to trail it down the list across the 7 that I do. That's the push notifications, messenger bots, SMS, email, ringless voicemail. I can't remember the other ones off the top of my head. So what I want to do at the end of the day, I want to be able to say like, hey, if email gets knocked out, you can still communicate with them on 6 different other channels. Ideally, the idea being, you email your prospects or your buyers every single day, and then you alternate days with the other traffic channels. For example, I'll give you like a little tip out of my SMS course. I don't ever send more than 2 text messages a week. It's really invasive and it's really direct. So in the agency, what I do is I'll stagger. So like Tuesday and Thursdays tend to be the highest revenue producing days for text messaging. So the agency builds out these campaigns for you and the system of basically dominoing how the contacts are part of your business so that you've got that fail safe no matter what happens to your email or whatever. But you've also got multiple touch points on your campaigns. So what we do is we do a series of testing over time to figure out when people are the most reactive to your messages, when they're reading your text messages, when they're opening your email. So I know if I know Tuesdays and Thursdays are when you're going to get the most revenue out of your text messages, when I'm sending your email campaigns, you're going to get an email every day. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you're going to get texts. On Mondays and Fridays, you're going to get a Facebook group message. On Wednesdays are going to be your messenger bot days. And I build that like tailored to each customer so that they understand, all of these different touch points, and you use them to leverage each other. For example, if you have really bad email deliverability and you're like, oh crap, my deliverability for the rest of the week is going to be a little staggered because I had a bad list rental or something that got low clicks. So my scores are down. Then what I'll do is I'll send a text message out to everybody saying, hey guys, I just sent you a really important email. Go check it out. So that spike in the opens and clicks will actually help increase your email performance over the rest of the week.
Absolutely. We've done that on our agency side where we run a Facebook ad to the custom audience of the email list saying, hey, go check your email and increase email open rates like 50%.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can do it for things like webinar show ups, texting them throughout the webinar. If you've got people where you find people are falling off, if you're doing an evergreen webinar and you notice people are falling off earlier on in the webinar video, you can text them play-by-plays during the webinar so that they actually can join back to the webinar or get the key takeaway so that when they do get retargeted with the offer, it still makes sense because they understood what was happening. So it's like, hey guys, if you jumped off the webinar, you just missed Seth revealing his top 10 secrets that da 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 da. So you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of ways that you can play these different communication channels against each other. And for those of you who are at Traffic and Conversion, Ryan Dice did an amazing keynote this year. And he basically said like, marketing is turning into a 2-way conversation. It's no longer pitching things to people. It's starting a conversation. Everything is starting with a conversation. And I took that to heart, and it just totally aligned for me that I was on the right path with the agency and with all of these communication channels that I'm piecing together. Because that's what it is. This is a communication. You're talking to people where they are when they're there. And there's a lot of really cool data that you can mine from this. For a lot of my clients, I've been pushing Facebook groups like crazy because I think they're such an underutilized tool. But Facebook group insights will tell you what kind of device people are on, when they're there, and what days of the week they're there. Wow. So guess what I'm going to start sending like that. I'm going to start tailoring my ad campaigns and my email sends and my text message sends to when people are reading them. So
that would make sense, right?
Yeah. But, I don't think as marketers, we think about we don't think about, we talk about it all the time, but like realizing that the person on the other end of your ad or your webinar is a real human being that has a life, right? I know we write copy to, tailored to the human psyche, but we don't understand that it's actually a person who may or may not have dinner boiling over on the oven or have all this other stuff going.
Kids screaming in the background.
Exactly. So, learning how to market to people where they are when they're there is going to be the future of marketing, whether that be text messages or Facebook groups. It doesn't matter, because if they're not there and they don't have the time to consume, it doesn't matter what medium you're using.
Absolutely. Okay. So who's an ideal client for 7-level profits? How do they get in touch with you? And then let's get back to Agora.
Okay. So for me, I only really work with clients who are doing at least 5 million a year, generally speaking. They have they have a core product. For me, I can take a core product and sell a core product, but if the offer is bad or the product isn't good, then I can't really help you. So I like to have a good offer and an email list to start, because it's so much easier to piggyback, and it makes more sense to piggyback off of an asset that you already have. So generally speaking, a couple of working lead magnets, a couple $1 million a year in gross revenue, and an email list to boot is kind of ideal for me. And I generally add people directly to my private Facebook group before actually, so they get a little feel for what it is. I like them to be educated a little bit and know, like, not so much like, hey, just deal with this and I don't want to know anything about it. I want them to understand what it is that we're doing and why we're doing it. So anyone who's interested can just check out 7 Level Profits is the Facebook group. Again, just 7 Level Profits on Facebook. And I give a lot of tips and examples and resources in that group as well. So it's a valuable group to be a part of, even if, you're not interested in being a client. There's tons of tips and advice in there for all of these different sales channels. And I also have quite a few SMS platform owners in there. I've got the best in the business and push notifications. I've got Perry in there. I've got Clayton Makepeace in there. He's the world's highest paid copywriter. And they're all in there, and they're such gracious people. They're totally willing to answer questions and give advice and help when needed. So it's definitely a good group to be part of.
Awesome. All right. So congratulations on that. Now, tell us a little bit about the division that you are working with at Agora Financial, and you've created some new initiatives over there. We'd love to hear about those.
Yeah. So I'm actually working within 2 divisions I work in Agora Financial. So I deal on the financial newsletter publishing side. I'm really lucky. I work with Doug Hill running Laissez-Faire. He's the publisher at Laissez-Faire, and I consult with them. And that's the James Altucher franchise. It's all Bitcoin cryptocurrency, but now a lot of lifestyle offers, how to craft a lifestyle, how to build, a side hustle and, multiple streams of passive income. It's a really, really fun division to be a part of. But what's been really exciting for me is my new division, which I'm happy to have you be a part of, Seth. It's called Revolution Publishing. So Agora Financial is a $300 million a year financial newsletter heavy hitter. The parent company, Agora, is a $2 billion a year business. So we've got a lot of success stories, and we've done a lot of really smart things in marketing. And I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned for both big businesses and startups alike from Agora. So coming in there, I was excited to be a publisher, but not just a publisher, but I get to publish, how Agora Financial does marketing. I get to teach you how we write copy, how we run ads, all of this really cool stuff that works on such a grand scale at Agora, but can be tailored to a lot of smaller businesses as well. So it's a really fun project for me. It's like a meld of the perfect worlds for me. I get to teach what I'm already good at, but I also get this whole other side of the business where I'm constantly learning. It's been really, kept me on my toes. That's to say the least.
I'm sure. And you sort of crafted yourself your dream job. So that is absolutely awesome. I want to talk about a marketing campaign I saw that you did that was absolutely brilliant. Was obviously Agora was a significant sponsor of the recent TNC conference, and you had multiple sessions. And I believe you made what I thought was an irresistible offer of, want to learn everything Agora does and how we do it. Come work for us learn from us at Agora University almost for 6 weeks. We'll put you up. We'll pay for you to be here. If you pass at the end, we'll give you a job. I thought that was like the greatest recruiting offer I've ever seen. If I could afford to take a pay cut and come work for you guys and move my family to Baltimore, I would have done it.
Man, I freaking wish that I had that opportunity when I was young, younger.
I want to go do it just because I want to learn all this stuff and apply it to our clients, except I can't disappear for 6 weeks.
Well, Katie Vogel, who's the CMO of Agora Financial, I've fangirled her for years. And had I been able to do that, so what it is we're looking to bring on 30, 35 people because we need marketing directors, we need media buyers, we need email marketers, we need display marketers, we need everything. So we're bringing 30 people to Baltimore. We still have a few spots left. We're bringing 30 people to Baltimore for 8 weeks. We pay them a salary. We pay room and board. And then last year we ran this, we hired 90% of them into full-time positions. So basically we're actually shopping these people around to the different divisions within Agora to almost guarantee them jobs before they even get there. So they're going to be learning from myself. They're going to be learning from Perry. He's coming in. He's going to do conversion rate optimization, which is alone, I promise, worth the time.
Oh, I bet.
Katie and Molly Pittman are teaching retention and renewals. Then we've got Drew Kassoff and Kristen coming in to teach email marketing. We've basically coordinated the best of the best in every one of the topics that we're going to be teaching. There's 7. And we've just lined up the best in the market, and we're going to be, giving these people access. Not only are we paying them, we're giving them I can't even imagine what they'd have to pay to see all of those people speak on these topics. And
especially in that intimate a setting, there's not 5,000 people in the room.
Yeah.
And they get to directly ask questions. It's like you get to, instead of paying several $100,000 to come to Agora University for 8 weeks, which should be a separate business, by the way. You're paying them and almost guaranteeing a very nice job, career at the end of it, which is an absolutely brilliant recruiting model. Full disclosure, full transparency, Agora Financial is a client of Market Domination, so I should have shared that right at the beginning.
But the coolest part is we don't just train them. We put our money where our mouth is. We give them a company credit card and an ad account if they're in display, and we let them play with our money until they get it right. And they all get an assignment at the end of the training to complete. And that's kind of what determines whether they get hired or not. But man, there's nothing better than learning on someone else's dollar. People are it's just not even fair. We didn't get that.
We got it, 17 years ago, but that's a whole nother story. All right. So talk a little bit, we got a few minutes left. Talk a little bit about expand a little bit on Revolution Publishing, because obviously that's going to affect a whole lot of our listeners.
So Revolution Publishing is really cool. We're basically going to be putting out courses, doing webinars, live trainings, and hopefully eventually getting more into the coaching side. But we've got a lot of really heavy hitters. I essentially went to, the marketers that I wanted to be. And I basically begged and pleaded people like Jeff Walker and Jay Abraham and Perry and Roland and Ryan, and basically said hey guys, I'm doing this project. I need to bring in the best of the best marketers, knowing that I have a lot of strong skills, but I needed to bring on all of these other people who are going to be co-creating products with me, and coming in to do live trainings and stuff like that through Revolution Publishing. So for me, it's the first time I've ever been able to cultivate all of these amazing people into one place. It's so much fun. And I've started actually putting some of the content together from some of these contributors. And man, even the free content that's coming out in the next little while from Revolution Publishing is worth more than most of the marketing courses I've ever bought put together. I've got copywriters like Clayton Makepeace and David Deutsch and Perry, all these amazing people that I've looked up to my entire career. So I fangirl these people half the time, while I'm going through this process.
As I have found as a podcaster and a producer of 80 shows, it's a great way to bring people together and get to pick their brains without having to go spend $50,000 a year to be in their mastermind plus 20 other people. And all of a sudden it's $1 million a year and you're never home because you're at a mastermind every other week.
Oh, the story of I'm looking at my calendar. I'm heading out to Genius Network this week, and I'm looking at my travel calendar going, oh no, when do I actually fly? There's no time.
I totally can resemble that remark. I totally understand. All right. So for our folks who are interested in learning more marketing and business folks from Revolution Publishing, where do they go to sign up, follow, get involved with? How does that work?
Sure. You can just go to revolutionpublishing.com or the Facebook page, just Revolution Publishing. It should be launching in the next couple of weeks, and there's already lots of content on the site that's super valuable. So feel free to take a look.
Awesome. All right. We have been here with Amanda Dobson of Agora Financial and 7 Level Profits, revolutionpublishing.com, and all the other URLs that she mentioned during our episode. Go rewind it, go play them. We'll list them all in the show notes. Amanda, thank you so much for joining us for the second time.
Thanks for having me, Seth. Take care. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks, everybody, for listening and watching, and we will see you next time. Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.